Hey, hey, hey. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, pop in, everyone. We are going to get started in just a couple minutes. Today is going to be our Road to 100K speaker event, and you're going to hear some amazing, fabulous people. So while we're doing that, I just want to make sure that all our settings are right, things are running. Okay. I had to restart my computer this morning. It was not fun. So let's see. First, I want to do here. Let's see. All right. All right, here we go. We are about to just going to start going live. I just want to make sure that we're streaming properly. I see all of you popping in. Fabulous. All right, and I am just going to make sure that we are streaming properly. All right, and then we're going to get started. We have so much to cover today, and I have some great speakers, and I have some very interesting information that you're going to want to hear. Okay, awesome. Right. All right. So I am going to, I just want to get started with saying that entrepreneurship can be challenging. And a lot of times we always want to be like further along than where we are. Even when you're successful and you've achieved all the things, like there's always another layer of success that most people are seeking or that they're after. And so I wanted to bring you all together today and if you're new to me, my name is Kelly Schaefer. I am author of the book, The Concierge Life. I self-published in 2017 because I wanted to bring truth-telling to the industry and truth-telling to what it's like to market a business successfully, especially in this industry and space, because a lot of the books that I was reading had a lot of like copy paste. It was like, get your LLC, put up a website, hang flyers in your grocery store. And there were a lot of just like bulleted list of things that we could all print out and go do. But what was happening is I wasn't seeing the results in my own life the way I thought I was going to when I was reading the books. So that's why in 2017, I decided to rewrite that paradigm and provide more contextual information of my lived experiences. And so if you're new to me, I also am the creator of the Concierge Academy, which has been a coaching program for the concierge industry since 2013, I think was my very first coaching program. I've been coaching in the industry since 2012. My students and the members that go through my programs are literally the top 10% in the industry. And so today I wanted to introduce you to some of them so that they can share their road in their business to hopefully like give some support, give some insight, and to inspire you to continue your businesses and where to be watch for pitfalls and where to watch where you might struggle and how to get yourself out of those struggles. Okay. So without further ado, and then we are going to leave some time at the end. Also, if you stick with us on till the end, we're going to leave some time at the end where you can also ask the panelists some questions, and you'll use the Q&A box for that when we get to that. So first I want to bring on, I have two people with me today, and I just want to lay out what it's going to look like. So I'm going to bring both our panelists on. You're going to meet Bree and Christina, and our other guest speaker, Naima. Naima is at a business conference this week. And so she wanted to pre-record her interview with me, and it was so amazing. And that interview is going to go live tomorrow. So look, I'm going to send a link out tomorrow that you can watch that full interview that I did with her last week because she could not be here with us live today. So, all right. So I see Christina, here she is, and she raised her hand. So I'm going to promote you to panelist. And I also see Bree, and I'm going to also promote you to panelist. So we're going to wait for them to come on. Do, 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 do. Hey, hey. All right, friends.
Oh, there I am. Hi.
There
Sorry.
you are. Yeah.
The other link,
All right, we're just waiting.
link was not working, so I didn't know that this one would.
Perfect. Well, you are
We're
here,
here.
so I am so glad. Hopefully the right link went out. And if Jamie's on here live, Jamie can just double check and make sure that the proper link went out. But it looks like it is because we have over 16 people on with us live, which is great. So I think everybody got the link. All right. So let's just start talking about all the things. So Bree, let's start with you, since you're like up there in the corner, the way I can see it. And so tell everybody your name, your business name, and when you started your business.
My name is Brienne, and I go by Bree. It's easier. My business is Property Home Concierge, and I started it 2 years ago, so it would have been 2021. This will be so May is my second year in business. And so I'm just entering now my third. And we do home watch for second home clients here in Southwest Michigan. And we also do add-on concierge services for those home watch clients. So this is kind of a second home market on Lake Michigan.
Amazing. Which is great because when people, so for people attending, I was so grateful that both of these ladies decided to come on today because their niches are a little bit different, like slightly different than the traditional, like I'm the concierge, the errand runner for all the things, right? And so it'll be really helpful for you all to hear their stories. Okay, so Christina, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Christina O'Neill with dashanddone.com, and I am the owner of Dash Personal Concierge. I'm here in Houston, Texas. I started in February 2018 and have kind of narrowed down more working with you. For what my niche is, but I do a lot of professional organizing and working with busy moms with young children.
Yeah. So really clear on that, right? Like busy moms with young children.
Yes.
Love that because the more you niche down, the more you know how to find your people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, awesome. All right. So, I'm going to ask this question. So we'll go back to Bree for a second. So tell us, so this is you're going to enter your third year this month, correct?
Correct.
And so thinking of your business, like year one and year two, what was your income like and how did your business change between like I started my business and I hung my flag, right? And how did that change like in that first year and how much money did you make? And then how has it changed in your second year and how much money you've made?
So my first year I feel like it was maybe unique because I spent a lot of time in year zero, we'll call it, in a corporate job, in a full-time job, just dreaming up this concierge thing that I wanted to do and not having the guts to leave my job and do this full time. So in that kind of period of being stuck, I had a lot of planning opportunities. So nights, weekends, all of it, I would I would do all the things that I thought I needed to do to like launch this business, right? I could have launched right then, but I was scared. So anyway, so year zero, the day that I opened my business, I got my first client. So it was like, why was I scared, right? I should have been doing this a long time ago. It was like, I opened the business and randomly, I don't know about randomly, but the universe said, she's ready. And it sent me the first client and I shot for the moon. I sold the top tier of my services to this person, didn't know what they wanted, didn't know all the questions I needed to ask, but I was like, what the heck? If I got to lose, I'm just going to go for it. And he bought it, right? It was like, the top tier. So that gave me a little bit of confidence. So at the end of my first year, I made 54,000.
It's incredible.
Mostly with this one client. And I was able to learn all of the things and be the technician while still trying to be a CEO, right? But I thought, I want to get my hands dirty. I want to learn this. I want to know eventually what I'll be teaching somebody else to do. I want to know it all. So dirty jobs, the fun jobs, all the things.
Okay,
So that
we
was
have to
kind of
let
year
everybody
one.
know what was one of the dirtiest jobs you had to do.
There's so many dead things, you guys. Like so many dead things.
Oh,
There's
So many dead things.
so many dead things.
I just
And there's no dead
because that's
people.
hilarious.
So mostly mice. Once there was a
Yes.
rabbit on a deck with no head and I had to discard it. The scariest thing, I'll make this quick because I know we've only got an hour here, was when the trash can that I had put by the road was full of some random comforter. Like the people's trash had been discarded, but somebody came along after that and put a really large comforter in it. And I thought, I better kind of look at it because what if there's a dead body in it? What's wrapped in this thing? I don't know. So I did that, and there was no body, but it wasn't pleasant.
I'm gonna have to use that subject line, like concierge to CSI. Hilarious.
It's gonna get pinned on me. Like all the things are going through my head.
Oh my God. I think one of the dirtiest has been like garage, like some really, really intense garage clean outs have been like my physical dirtiest, and some very homes that needed a lot of love. But when it comes to stuff like that, I think I was doing a home watch service, and I had to fish out, I think it's called a vole. It's not a mole. I think it's called a vole. That was dead in somebody's pool, and I had to go like fish it out. It was not fun. But yeah. All the dead things. That is the best. Okay. So back to, that year you said
54,000.
54,000, and you were primarily being the technician in your business. The
Yes.
technician, as I refer to it, is the person that goes out and does the work. It's the boots on the ground. It's the feet that go and do the stuff for the people to make the money. But from year 1 to 2, you needed to transition. And so what did that look like?
So I knew I didn't want to do the dirty jobs forever. I started to love the dirty jobs too, but I needed more purposeful time in my business. So I had been with Kelly through a Spark Live training, and I don't remember what the next program that I chose was. But at the end of year 1, I started 100K Club. And for me, it was, so in my past life, I had a decent amount of, sales and marketing kind of background. But when you're in your business for yourself, it's different. Like I could sell somebody else all day long, but when I was talking about my business, it was really personal. You would think that'd be an advantage, but it wasn't. Like I was scared to sell my own services. So I needed confidence. I needed accountability. And I knew that Kelly's kind of regular cadence of meetings and her resources would help me get to that next level. So I did a lot of investing in myself in year 2, because as I was being the technician and knowing that I didn't want to be the technician forever, I kind of enjoyed going out and doing a little bit of sales. And I enjoyed having a photo shoot and promoting myself as CEO. What was getting in my way is like, my thoughts for the most part. And so year 2, Kelly helped me get out of my own way. And the thoughts that kind of creep in for me were, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, how am I going to do this? I have no idea. So it's kind of like I'm acting this, but it's this imposter syndrome. And I had to kind of rewire my brain with Kelly's help to go, no, the things I don't know how to do, like I have resources for them. So don't panic. I don't need to panic. I don't need to get into this mode of, get into this mode of being stuck and panicking because I can't do this. So retraining my brain for some things like that was key to getting me out of that stuck period and into what I had the vision for in the first place for the business. So that was kind of my year 2. And as soon as I did that, I had more confidence. I got more referrals. I built the base of clientele beyond the one guy and into his friends, his neighbors, his colleagues in Chicago. They were so pleased with the services and knew I could take it on, and I knew I could take it on, that it was like, open the floodgates, and here we go. So that was year 2. So year 2, I made 64,000. So it wasn't that much more, right? But I had invested in myself a lot and done a lot of work. This year, so calendar year, January 1, I fixed my profit and loss, Kelly. She beat it
Awesome.
out.
We talk a lot about, so anybody at like 100K, we talk a lot about profit because you lose a lot of profit in your business when you're not building it in a sustainable way. And we talk about money leaks. There's a lot of money leaks that happen in your business. And it's one of the foundational things that we talk about in the program is finding your time leaks and your money leaks. And once you fix those, then we can build the systems, we can bring in the team, we can do the other things to bring that future business to life that you're dreaming of, 2-3 years down the line. And I know we've talked about your future dream, but I'm going to let you share that like towards the end. But so you fixed your profit loss. Yes.
I did. And so from January 1 till the end of April, I sold $38,000 in my services. So I feel like all of the work in, the last couple of years that was done, I'm on track now to exponentially grow. So I'm just excited about it.
That is so good. Amazing. All right, Miss Christina, fill us in on your business and how your business has changed and how your income goals have grown or how your income has grown.
Okay, so but mostly regarding just like income and growth, not so much like growth is in mindset. Like you want more like numbers so people aren't understanding.
And of course. So
Okay.
if you like from year 1 to 2, if you did, this was your growth in your business, what was the primary thing that changed in your business? And the primary thing that changed could be your mindset.
Okay.
Right. Like Bree shared, that in year 2, she decided to become more of the CEO of the business, looking at things that the CEO has to look at, like profit and loss and hiring, things like that, and the stability of the business. And then that is now helping her exponentially grow. So what was that for you? Okay.
So I was introduced to Concierge Academy in 2020. In 2019, I did 35,000. So not awful. But I was really feeling like I was on a hamster wheel and could not get, like, it just constant exhaustion. and just feeling like there's never enough hours in the day. And I had some business, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to be doing. And I was at that point where I was like saying yes to all the things, everybody, all the time. I'll go here, I'll do whatever. And then just like I said, that constant like just spinning. And then COVID happened, and it was a good time to kind of take a little break. And I started doing some work with Concierge Academy and was introduced. And then I thought it was a good time to kind of jump in and kind of start back, go back. And then, and that was, really instrumental in getting, changing things. In 2020, it was only 19,000 because I did lose half of my client base, but similar to Bree, sometimes you kind of have to take a step back, go forward. And that was kind of where I was like, this is okay, like it's fine. And then in 2021, that doubled to 40,000. And then 2022, it doubled, more than doubled again. And I did 85,000 last year. So
Amazing.
Yeah, consistently just growing and, similar to what, Bree was saying, you do have to look at all those other things that you don't, you just, if you're not, like, I don't have any business experience. And so I had no idea what I was doing. And I think that's true for a lot of people. You come at it with a passion. Like, I guess it shouldn't be any surprise to any of us, but I've seen so many people on calls go, oh my gosh, you were a nurse, or you were a, fill in the blank with any kind of like nurturer, helper, fixer, like those kinds of people. And I'm like, are we surprised by this? Like, it's just innate in us, I think, to do this type of work. And it's always come natural to me, but I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I was like, I'm going to find my way.
Which is, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I'm going to find my way is a great starting point.
It's great.
And
I'm
got
glad,
yourself
I'm glad I had the courage to do it. And I encourage anybody else who, if you're passionate about it, you can make it work. However, I would probably still be in that $35,000. Maybe I'd make 50, I'm sure I would have increased my rates. So maybe I'd be at 50 or 60, but I really kind of feel that that's probably about where I would max out. Mm-hmm. And somewhere along the way, there's so many things in, as far as like mindset goes, that I learned, and the one big one is like the whole selling yourself, that always creeps me out because I just felt like a used car salesman. And I hear a lot of people saying that too. And you kind of have to find your authentic self and just do that. And, like you say, meet the people and, do what you do best and, networking in the right way, which is something I've learned through Concierge Academy, and those things will come, and they do. And when you do good work and you have a good referral system in place, a referral partner system, then people are just coming to you, and you're not, selling yourself. It's so much easier.
Yes.
Which is also like I have a waiting list, and so I have to, I have clients that are like, oh, I gave someone your number, and I'm like, I want to help all the people. I want to help everyone, but yeah, you don't, you learn these systems that get put in place, and just a different mindset around this confidence that you gain, and you're doing things in a better way that are so much easier and take so much less time to bring in more clients, to grow. Mm-hmm. Like Bree said, exponentially. Like, this will just continue, the things that I've learned. And I don't really, I work with Kelly one-on-one with some coaching right now, but I took a little bit of a break from actually being in the 100K. Mm-hmm. And I think, I don't even remember what it was called before not 100K, and it wasn't even.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the iterations, like the name keeps changing. And now I'm like, we're just keeping it this way so people don't get confused.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what were you going to say about that though? You've
Oh,
been,
yes.
been
Yeah,
in
yeah. Just that
and
I've been,
coached.
I gained so many things, and I still, I'll go back in my binder and look at things, and there's tools that I'll never stop using. Like, they're part of my process. They're, my Mondays and the way I do my meeting. Like, there's so many things that I've gained in the tools that would never have come naturally. And like I said, I mean, I would probably still be in business because this is what I love doing. And some days I want to pinch myself and go like, I get paid to do this. This is incredible. And I think some people are probably surprised by it too. But I just, I've gained so many things that now, I need to, retouch on things, but they're, like I said, it's a mindset shift, just as much as the tools that I've learned. And that has come a lot through, having the accountability and, working with Kelly on, rethinking the way that we think. And sometimes you don't know that those tangible tasks that you want to do or goals that you have, that sometimes it's up here that needs some work to get
Yeah.
you where you want to be.
Yeah. So, I like to, I'll say to people in my programs, you're getting not just like, first, you're getting my lived experiences and the lived experiences of the hundreds of clients that I've coached over the years. You get the logical, systematic, like tangible, tactical things to change. You also really understand and get a deeper understanding of your mindset and how it's playing into the tactical things. Because let's face it, and I'm not saying that I'm absolved of this either. I do the same thing. That's why I get coached too. If I get stuck on something, it's not normally because I don't know what to do. A lot of times we know, like, some things, it's like we know what to do, or at least what the next step is to do. You might not know all the steps, but you know the next kind of step. But you're not doing it because your mind is getting in the way for all of the various things and all the things that your brain is telling you. And then there are just things that when you're growing a business, you just don't know what you don't know. So when I started my business, like, I knew how to help people. I knew how to take care of people. That was it. I did not know marketing. So I needed to learn marketing. Marketing was the thing that brought people to me. I had to go out and do the marketing. The marketing brought people to me. I learned that skill. Great. You would think I'd be done, but I was not, because then I was wasting a lot of time in my business, in the back end of my business, or driving my car between client to client. And I was actually losing money because I might have been billing, 15, 20 hours a week, but I was actually working 30 to 40 hours a week if you included my marketing and time spent wasted in the car. So then I'm like, I can't make any more money because I don't have any more time to give because I was raising small children. So then I needed to learn the process of taking back my time, which is where the time leaks came from. Then when I started to hire and started realizing, oh my God, I'm hiring people, but I might be making an extra $2,000 a month, but I am only making an extra $500 a month. There's a problem here. So then I needed to figure out where all my money leaks were. Right. And so, like, but you don't know that going in. You're like, oh yes, this is it. Right. And you don't know what you have to learn. And then I realized that it wasn't just about the team. I had to make sure I was hiring the right people. And then I needed to show up in leadership for them, because then I had a team who was constantly like, ding, ding, Kelly, ding, ding, Kelly, ding, ding, Kelly, ding, ding, Kelly, ding, ding, Kelly. And I was micromanaging people. And I was like, I didn't start this business to micromanage people. So now I needed to learn how to teach them how to manage themselves. And they could only do that when I showed up in leadership for myself in my business and taught them how to do that. And so, like, again, like, you start a business, you don't know that that's going to end up having to be the thing that you end up having to do. And most of us naturally are not wired to do those things. Mm-hmm. So like the programs are this combination of this tactical stuff and the mindset. And then of course there's personal development. There's some we definitely have law of attraction in there. We talk about the universe all the time. So that's one of our, I mean, biggest values that we have is we all believe that we're spiritually connected in the program as well. So let's go back to the pat, like that last year when you doubled from the 40 some to the 80 some, right?
Mhm.
What
Mhm.
was the biggest like tactical shift that you made in your business?
Probably, I mean, the biggest thing would be memberships.
Mhm.
So I changed the um, kind of how the business is run and how I sell things.
Right.
And that just started with training myself in how to have that sales conversation. And so anybody I knew that I brought on, it was just a member.
Yes.
And so then it's just so streamlined. It's just, it makes it so much easier. And then, so, cause that helped with time management, I think. And
Yes.
that was
This
a
is
big
some of the
piece was
time
that,
leaks.
was that
Yes.
time leak from running, cause you're there for an hour. Oh no, I had a 2-hour minimum, but still. And so then, you know, it's just regularly scheduled. It's so much easier. So there was that. Doing memberships was so much better. And then also price increase. I think I was really stuck on like, are people really going to pay this? And oh yeah, they're totally going to pay it and be
I think I
happy.
remember having like at least 1 or 2 conversations over a course of a couple weeks about you increasing your rates and
Oh
being like,
yeah, I
you can
procrastinated
do
for
it.
the longest.
You
And
can
now
do
it's
it.
like January, boop, there it goes. Like just I think the last 2 years I've done that. And so
Yeah.
that's why since 2020, like it's doubled and then doubled again. And I don't think it's not gonna, I'm gonna make 100K this year, but it won't go that big because I really need, you know, more team members to really make that next big jump.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that would be the biggest things.
So in addition to the money increase
Mhm.
that you had through the programs, other than like everybody's like the money increase is amazing, but what else did you gain for yourself personally or for your personal life or just like your like what else improved in your life other than just the money? And so it sounds like to me like the obviously the income increased, the quality of clients you were working with increased,
Mhm.
the lost like finding lost time and getting rid of it, right? So that's kind of like an increase and a decrease. We decreased lost time and we found more time. What other like life changes or did you experience through that?
So there's probably 3 things I can look at. The first is with the time. It's just I am so much better about taking the time that I need for myself. And a lot of that is boundaries. And that is a lot of the work that I've done. And through this program, and just some of it is just saying no about things and, you know, not wanting to do the work I want to do, but just having the time. I felt like, you know, when I was on that hamster wheel per se, I would take calls all the time. I think my family thought I was constantly working because it would just be like 15 minutes here and an hour here. And, you know, and now it's like, oh, I stop at 6 o'clock. I do not look at text, emails, nothing on Sundays. Like, you know, I really have learned to set boundaries. And a lot of that is, you know, those time leaks. Um,
Yes.
the second part of that is just so much confidence in myself and what I am doing. And I, you know, some of that is from, you know, just working with you and, you know, just, but a lot of it, I think also just comes from experience and having clients that are really happy. Like if you do a good job, people are happy, like end of story. And so I think over time, I'm like, yeah, people really like me. They like what I'm doing. It's valuable. And so that, that and the fact that you taught me like, you don't have to do like, look at what you did, what made the most money, and what do you want to do more of? And if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. And I
So many people are
remember
afraid to
they're
like
so
not
afraid.
do stuff. Yes.
And
But
one
when
of
you
the
let go of the
biggest,
stuff, yeah, not to interrupt, but when you let go of the stuff that you really, really don't want to be doing, the stuff that you sneakily say, oh, I don't mind. When you let that go, it creates the space to do the stuff that you want to do.
yes, it does. And on that note, the same with clients. I had to fire a client last year, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever done, because it was a 20-hour a month client, which is a huge chunk of money. And I was dragging, and at first I was like, I think you told me like, you may, just, you didn't say it outright, but it was kind of like a, this may not be a right fit client. And I was like, sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you, and so I went with that for a while, and then I was like, no. And I kid you not, I fired that client, and the next week I had 2 new clients. I mean, they weren't membership at that level, but it was like the universe was like, okay, she's ready. And so kind of on that note, you really, you have to be open to the idea that things are going to come, you be positive and open about it, and things will work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, because the universe does listen. The universe, it's like, I don't want this, and then you say yes to it. It will end up in like, it ends up bad. Let's just say it ends up bad. Right.
And then
if
the
you
third,
have,
I'm sorry.
oh, I was just gonna say, if you have like a spidey sense about something, like you got the spidey sense, it's not for you.
I know. And I did with that person early on, and I was just like, oh, it's fine. I don't see her that much. Yeah, no, when you know.
You do know when you know. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. And your third thing.
The third thing is, which was probably the most major thing that I think I'm just so grateful for. And, it's not something you can read in a book, just what I've gotten out of working with you and the academy. It's just this kind of this, the CEO hat. And there were things that I didn't want to do, that I don't like to do, or thought I didn't like to do, like financial stuff. And so, I was like, okay, this is fine. So now I buy like bougie candles, and I'm like, I'm going to make this, like, this is going to be a good little, and the money is fun to see it coming in. And so, you just have to change that. And but then also just, this confidence that you gain, and knowing that you can do all of this and any of it, and you can set these goals. And before, literally, this is crazy to say, but I had never in my life set a goal. Like, I didn't grow up with parents who did things like that. And I've like daydreamed or something, but I didn't know that if you want this, you break it down. I didn't know how to set goals. And doing that here, it was just like life-changing and mind-blowing for me, because I was like, oh, people really do this. This is the thing. And I'd never set a goal. And now I'm like, I'm like setting the personal goals and the financial goals, and in all the areas, which is, like I said, it's really been, I mean, it sounds dramatic to say that it's been life-changing, but it's just been this big shift in that time period, where I'm like, I can do this, like, by other people and not me. And I can just remember sitting here one day, and I have this binder that I would do before our calls, where I would write questions that I wanted to ask. And I wrote the question, and then it was like this little Kelly angel was like, what do you think you should do? And I was like, I know the answer. Like, I got this, I know this. Sometimes you don't want to believe it, or you don't want to acknowledge it because it's hard and you have to do hard things. Like this $85,000 did not come easily. It is hard work. But I think when I realized like, oh, I am the CEO, I'm running the shit like this, like I got it, was major. And I feel like that. I mean, I guess, there's days for sure that you doubt it, hard days, but I think that's something that I'll always have with me and be able to do no matter what I'm doing.
Yes.
Is that, I can figure this out. I got it.
Yeah. And I want to also normalize for people too, because I think a lot of people like just normalize one, you have to do hard things. You're going to have to do shit that you don't really actually feel like doing, like looking at your numbers, or maybe firing a client, or maybe firing a team member, or putting in time to figure out how to train the proper team member, or deciding that I'm not just going to keep doing a grab a friend session and just grab a friend to come fill my gap for me, and I'm going to actually hire somebody or get the proper insurance that I actually need. Like sometimes you just have to do hard things if you want to build a business that's going to respect you back. Right? So that's the first thing that I've really heard you say. And then like the other thing that you said that people probably didn't catch on is like some days it still sucks. Some days it does still suck. And guess what? Life is going to be a 50-50, right? 50% of the time you're going to be higher on life. 50% of the time you're going to be navigating some shit. And knowing that you can still do this while holding both of those simultaneously, the good and the bad, the good and the hard, the good and the suck, like that is a skill set to learn how to do. Because when you learn how to do that, then you can move forward. Because otherwise you're going to keep reverting back to what you and your brain is used to doing over and over and over again. And it will go back to the addictions that it likes to live in: an addiction to overwhelm, an addiction to people pleasing, an addiction to overgiving, undercharging. Like it just goes back to the addictions. It's just it's a pattern. It's a pattern that the brain is used to being on. And getting yourself out of that pattern is almost impossible because you are living in the pattern. You don't even realize it's a pattern because you're in it. It's like takes somebody external to you to like offer and point it out to you. So good. So Bree, is there anything else that you want to add as well?
Yeah, I think
And I want to have some time for Q&A.
I think pointing out that there are hard things. When I first started the business officially, my friends said, "How's it going?" And what do you like? And I said, honestly, there's really high highs and there's really low lows, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like this is what I should have done years ago. This is amazing. I built the business for myself, for the lifestyle that I want to have. I've got 3 little kids that, my purpose was spending more meaningful time with my family and giving that to my clients. So if I can task manage for them, if my business can task manage for them, what does that give them back? It gives them back all this time with their family when they come to their vacation home. So I, with Kelly's help, she said, "You don't have to work Fridays. You don't want to work Fridays? Don't work Friday." So I don't there are some things that I need to do. There's hard things, but almost every day I pick up my kids from school at about 3:10. So my day, doing the technician type stuff it's done before that. And so I built the business around my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that is the best part of it. Now, as I kind of shift my mindset to being more CEO than technician, there's different tasks that I have to do. But I can still fit those all into the day and the weeks that I want to have. So yeah, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. And you said something that I kind of want to highlight for people. It's talking about being in integrity with yourself and with what you are offering. So, and this, I want you to think about where you may not be being in integrity with either yourself or what you are offering. And this is for everybody on the call. And so I'm going to give you an example so your brain knows what the hell I'm talking about. So Bree said that she gives her clients back time and so forth to do things and be with their family. That is the primary mission of her business. Okay. Most people will do that, but then they won't give that to themselves.
Mhm.
That is not being in integrity with your business or your brand. You cannot be out there toting to the world to take time for yourself and live this lifestyle and be with your family and delegate things and not be integrity of that for yourself. So on the outside, you're like, yes, delegate, get help, spend more time with your family. But in the back, you're like behind your door and you're like not doing that for yourself. You are over hustling, you're overworking, you're working when you said you would be with your family. I mean, I literally had to do this. I had to go through this myself. I said yesterday, I would be like on the beach and I'd get like a potential client call or a realtor would call me who wanted me to like do something. And I would literally be like telling my husband, oh, I'll be right back. I gotta go to the bathroom. And I'd like sneak my cell phone and my bikini and I'd head up to the bathroom and I'd be like having calls because if he knew I was doing that while I was on vacation, he'd have had a fit. I mean, he was very supportive and he wanted me to be on vacation. So then I started realizing, oh, this is when people talk about walk your walk and talk your talk. This is exactly what they're talking about. The other way integrity shows up a lot also is when you want people, again, this showed up for me, and I shared this story like a week or so ago. When you want people to like, we're just going to like make it real easy. You want people to pay you for a service to make their life easier, whatever it is, their life, their home, their seniors, their organizing, right? You want people to pay you to make their lives easier, but you won't pay people to help make your life easier. It's not an integrity. Same way, if I'm out there saying you've got to market to get clients, but I'm not marketing, that would be out of integrity. If I were to tell people we have to deal with your mindset in addition to the tactical things that you do, but I'm over here constantly just doing tactical things and not working on my mindset, not getting coached myself for my own mindset, would not be in integrity. So I want you to think about an area in your life where you're saying one thing and you're actually doing the other. I mean, that literally right there is like $1 million aha that I hope you all just got. So, all right. We're already like 50 minutes in and I want to give people a chance to like ask some questions. So if you have questions, you're watching, just go ahead for either of our panelists, just put it down in the Q&A so that they can answer those questions for you. And then while you are doing that, I just wanted to invite any of you who are, so we had a great free training yesterday. It was the 5 to 6 figure shift. It's how to shift your business from low 5 figures to high 5 figures and 6 figures. We are in open enrollment right now for 100K Club for this round. We start in July. We kick off July with a 2-day kickoff event where we're going to plan out the next 3 years of your business, and you're going to make decisions for your business so that you know how to focus your CEO time, because let's face it, you don't have 80 hours a week to like work on your business. So we need to know what you're going to be focusing on. Then through that decision making, you know how you're going to approach your business for the rest of the year. We have group calls twice a month where you get to come and you get coached on your mindset or your tactical things like both the ladies shared today. And then we also have our Get Shit Done days which have always been our students' like favorite things because we get shit done and we be CEOs those days, right? What would you say about that?
Oh, it's great. I mean, I knew that if there was something that was just like stressing me out that I knew I had to do, I'd be like, oh, we got to get shit done day. Writing it down. When I write it down, it's going to happen. Like, I know I'm going to hold myself accountable. It's going to hold me accountable. And it was just a really good day to carve out time to do things that you sometimes just kind of let go.
Yeah, because it's hard and you don't actually want to do them because it's the hard things. Because if it was easy to do, you would have already done it yourself. And so we have our get shit done days, and then you have access to all the curriculum, all the resources, the operating procedures, like how to hire team when you're at that level. And then we're going to have our event in September. We're going to have CA Live this year. It's going to be so fun. It's the first time in 4 years we're going to come together as people and humans and hug each other. And so enrollment is open. Enrollment closes next Friday. And the investment to enroll right now is $4,000. So I want you to all consider too, if you've been on this fence or you're like, this is what I need to do next. Now, this is not for the people that are just getting started. This is not the program for you, because I love you all, but you would feel like a fish out of water. This is for somebody who is making money, does have their niche figured out, and are marketing and getting clients. But consider how you can exponentially grow your business over the next 1, 2, 3 years, and the return on investment that you will get from that investment in the long-term growth of your business, in addition to your own mindset, your own time, your own relationships with your family, your own claiming, doing things, and having the lifestyle like Christina shared that you really want. Okay, so let me see. We have some. Okay, so can you say, let's see. Okay, so what was your pricing at the beginning? Like so let's just say, to keep it more general, let's just say, how did your pricing change from the time you started to where you are now? Without we're not going to give specific numbers, because specific numbers and so forth are really based on your client base, your expertise, your marketing, and your positioning. So we don't want to give people specific numbers, but so for Bree, how did your pricing change when you started to where you are now? What would you say the biggest change in your pricing was?
I didn't make a lot of changes from start till now. I set it up. It's the same as how I set it up in the beginning. One thing I did do is get rid of hourly a la carte services. So I don't do that anymore. I didn't want to do it. It was hard to keep track of. And I'd rather sell them a package or a membership. So that's one thing that I changed.
Perfect. Okay. And then Christina, for you, what
Mine was very low when I started out. So it has almost tripled.
So your rates have tripled over the past,
yes.
4
5
years. 5
Yeah,
years.
February
Okay.
made 5 years I was in business. So yes.
Yeah.
And then like I said earlier, the membership model too that I use helps with it being consistent.
Yes, yes. And so we teach this in the program too, but jumping to membership when you're not ready, because there's positioning that needs to go behind the membership. You need to know, like, you have to be willing to hear a no. You have to have the positioning behind it, and why somebody is a good fit for your membership, and not trying to sell your membership to people who aren't a good fit, which is why a lot of people try to do memberships and they fail at it in the beginning. So learning how to sell first and then going into memberships is, I think, the best way to do that smoothly. And then let's see, the next question is, what was your best networking tool getting started? So again, it does so networking is a little bit nuanced based on the services that you offer. and who your clientele are. But what would you say was your biggest networking like nugget that maybe you didn't know that you learned inside the program? What would you say that was, Bree?
I think, so for me, I wasn't willing to go to evening networking events because that didn't fit with my business model, my vision of being there with my family. So I, from Kelly's modules, I learned kind of an elevator speech, and I used it everywhere I went. So I'm taking out the trash and I see the neighbor across the street and I talk to the neighbor. This is what I do. Introduce myself. If you see me, don't call the police, first of all. But second of all, who do you know that could use this service, especially on the street? I'm here already, would love to help the neighbors. So just using that in my everyday, talking to every single person, all the subcontractors or vendors that I would come into contact with. Who else do you know that could use this?
Awesome. And how about you, Christina?
Well, I was definitely doing networking all wrong, if there's such a thing. Because I was going to
There
all the
is,
free
because
stuff.
a lot of people
going to the free
are
stuff.
doing networking
Yeah,
wrong. Yes.
And thinking that other people going to free stuff, we're going to buy things, and they're not. And then the whole idea that you're networking specifically just to sell and thinking that you're going to like instantly see a return on that. And it's kind of a long game. And then also, you know, the follow-up and the things that I learned in NCA that get you prepared for how to do it right, and like other things you do, and just like you know, and I said this earlier, just like being my authentic self first, finding the group that I felt comfortable with, and I felt like, oh, these are my people.
Yes.
And then just being me and getting to know them, and then they want to refer you because they like you, they trust you, they know you're reliable, all those things.
Yes.
Talk to the humans.
Talk to the humans. That's it, my friends. Go talk to the humans. When I first started my business, I had never been in business before, right? I was a mom. I had 4 kids, and I worked as a nurse. I knew how to take care of people. Knew nothing about business. Googled all the things, right? Like, what do you do? Da da da. And it's like, go networking. So I went networking, and I took all my cards, and I showed up, and I puked in the parking lot of my very first networking event in the sprinkly rain next to my mom van under the great big spotlight because it was at like a mall area. And I went in, I was armed, and that was like the first thing I realized was like walking around and being like, hey, this is what I do. Here's my card. That does not work. That wasn't exactly how I did it, but basically that's kind of how I did it. Because I thought everybody in that room needed somebody to help them. So I immediately started to think that everybody in that room was my ideal client. And the moment you think that everybody in that room is your ideal client, you're doing it wrong. That's what I'm going to say. You doing it wrong. That's not how we do it. And then the other thing is I started, and then I joined the chamber, and then I was like going to all these mixers and stuff, and everybody was like wearing, like, I was like, oh, I don't have clothes for this. I got to go. So I literally went out and spent hundreds of dollars on, if not thousands, in a wardrobe. I bought like the slacks and the button down shirts and the pencil skirts and the heels. And it was so fun. And I was out there, my cute little self. And every day I went out there, I was like, I looked cute. My husband used to say, you look smart today, but I did not feel like myself. I was like, I am holding in all of this that you get to see here, like this outwardly person, this vocal person, this like talks with her hands. And I would be like, and I was not being my authentic self. Finally, one day I was like, I can't wear this damn shield anymore. It is awful. It is hard to wear the shield. So I was like, that's it. Next event, I wore like, not a halter shirt, but like it was like a blousey kind of shirt that kind of like came up around the neck and the shoulders were exposed. And I had 5-inch heels on and jeans. And that day I was like, I have arrived. If you need somebody to get your shit done, I'm the person you're going to call. And just my whole aura changed. My confidence changed. We talked a little bit about like confidence. That is how your confidence changes. You have to show up as you. That is how your confidence changes initially, is showing up as you. And so like when you're talking about your authentic self, like that, be your authentic self. If you say stuff like shit, say stuff like shit. Guess what? They don't care. The people who get offended by that were never going to hire you anyway, or they would hire you and then they'd be cranky pants and then the energy would just be awful. Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? Have you all heard that? Like your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vibe, you have a personalized energetic footprint that when you are out there buzzing as yourself, you have magnetism to you and you attract the right people to you. When you cover that up and you try to be somebody you are not, you are attracting the wrong people. I mean, that is a masterclass in and of itself. So that's where we're going on that one. Okay. Are you ladies okay for a few more minutes? We have a couple more questions.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Fabulous. Okay. When you started hiring a team, how did you find a team that is as passionate as you are about your business? How much time do you spend on training and coaching while maintaining your financial goals? Okay. That is everything that's inside 100K Club. But let's say for a second, how did you find team that are as passionate as you are about your business? I mean, I can answer that question a little bit, but I'd like to hear your feedback as well. There's two things. Number one, nobody is ever going to love your baby the way you do.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So stop thinking that they're going to love your baby the way you do. That's your first mistake, because they're not. They're not going to love your baby the way you do. It's not their baby. The moment you can get over that shit, then you can then focus on who would be the right fit team member for my clients, my business, and myself. Clients, business, and self. Mm-hmm. Then when you're hiring, I teach a process on how to hire to attract the right people who are the right fit for you, your clients, your business, and yourself. So, but is there like one nugget that you would give? So, Christina, you already said like nobody's going to be as passionate as you.
And they're not going to do it exactly like you would.
No,
like,
they're not.
I'm such a control freak. My husband will attest to that. And so
we're control enthusiasts.
There you go. Oh, hey, I like that.
Hello.
Yes. And so that, some of it is you got to let that go. But then what kind of worked for me, like it's just one little nugget, is actually looking for people who had strengths that are different than mine. Yes. Like they don't necessarily have to check all the, they have to check the important boxes. Are they going to be reliable? Are they going to be punctual? Those things.
Yes.
But then it's like, oh, I really don't like doing A, B, and C, but this person's really good at that. So that actually might be really good to have on the team because, every client is different and their needs are different.
Yes. So good. So good. How about you, Bri?
I think what helped me, because I am now just hiring team, but really figuring out what your non-negotiables are, what you need in an employee and a teammate, that is going to help drive the outcome, the culture.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, all of that. And so I'll give you all a little hack, so to speak, is when you figure out your non-negotiables for your team, what your non-negotiables are around your team, and it really has to be a culture fit, right? So Christina mentioned that, they don't always have to have the exact same skill sets, right? And honestly, I I don't give a shit whether you have experience in any of this or not. It's like, are you a good human? Are you a responsible human? And the most important thing that determines is whether or not that person that you are considering hiring takes personal responsibility.
Yes.
And there are very specific ways that I teach you inside the program on how to find that out without saying, oh, do you take personal responsibility for yourself? Because of course, everybody's going to be like, of course I do. I own up to all my mistakes. And you're like, no, you don't.
Yes, and those tools are amazing
Yeah.
that I used for the process. And it, it started with a lot of mind work on the way
Yes.
you word things.
Yeah.
So that you are attracting people that may not have your skill set, but you're going to jive with. Like you want, like I loved one of the team members that I had for a very long, like it was just, we could, honest with you, it was great. And I think that was very helpful to have those tools to know, because like you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. And there were questions I never would have thought to ask without having, hey, here's, first do this, then do this, and, because it's, you got to find good people and know how to keep good people is the second part of that.
Yes. Yes. 100K is more than just getting bodies and seats. 100K teach you how to hire people and then be a leader to them. And literally, I give you my entire process for how to hire and onboard a new team member. But what I want to say, here's the ninja hack is like Bree said, like getting really clear on like your non-negotiables for that client, and then write a goal card around it. And then just keep going out into the world looking for that person, and that person will show up. But you have to get really, really clear first. And when somebody comes in, just like right fit client, right fit team, when somebody comes in and they don't quite fit, do not hire them because you need a body in a seat, because they will not stay long term. Okay, so making sure that they fit all of your non-negotiables and not being like, oh, I can be flexible on this one. To the same thing when you are bringing and hiring or signing new clients and you're like, oh, yeah, I can do all these things. I don't really want to do this one thing, but I want to get the client. So I'm going to say yes, right? You have to be willing to say no or to let that client go. So hopefully that helps you. I think that was Colleen. All right. Let's see. We have a question from Lakia. She's starting a senior concierge business. Curious to know what specific services you ladies offer and how did you first find your right fit customers? So, I mean, neither of you offer senior services. So there's that. But Bree, you said that you like, what are your top core 3 services?
Personal assistance, just so their second home is a place that they can't always physically be at. And so there are certain things they need to do in this community that they can't get to. So that type of thing. Errands, what else? Hiring subcontractors for their home on their behalf.
Awesome. And then Christina, what are your top 3 main services?
Home organizing, party planning, and probably shopping. Do a lot of shopping.
So how did you, so I'm going to go back to her question. And so Bree, back to your, how did you find your first right fit customer? But you kind of said, you already said it. Like you were thinking of the business, you were preparing in the back end while you had your full-time job, you were planning, you spent time thinking, what would an ideal client look like? And then
I think so that first right fit client was, called me, and on the spot, my day 1 of the job, right? The job. I had to ask a lot of open-ended questions to learn what they needed. What are you looking for? What are your expectations? Those type of open-ended questions. and then determined, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I mean, that was kind of amazing. When I started to get a little further into the business, I outlined what those questions would be. So I'm meeting with a new potential client. What are those things that I really need to, now that I've provided services, what are those things that I really need to be asking? And how do I need to be asking in order to get the answer that I'm trying to get to?
Yeah. And you did that work and came up with the questions and created like your own sales inquiry process during one of our
Yes.
group days together.
DSD, get shit done day. Yeah.
Get shit done day. Yes. All right. So I will say though, and I wanna go back to Lakia. Bree knew what she wanted to do and what a right fit client was going to look like. She knew the things. So when you're thinking about right fit client, it's the type of client. What are the things you want to do? The things that you are like, I am naturally qualified, or I am really good at, or I really like doing these things, and knowing what they are for yourself first. And then like, what are the things that, and start thinking about it. Like if somebody asks me to do blank, is that something I really want to do? Yes or no? If they ask me to do this, is that something I really want to do? Yes or no? And answer that for yourself. I didn't know, nobody taught me like finding right fit clients when I started my business. So I was saying yes to all the things. And then I found myself in positions where I was like, I don't like this. Like certain online research. Some people love it. I fucking hate it. And please don't ask me, please never ask me to book your travel for you, because booking my own travel, like it takes me months to figure it all out because I want to know all the things. Don't ask me to book your travel. So I would never, ever do that for a client. Even if everything else was right fit about them, I'd be like, yeah, I can do all that, but not your travel. I'll refer you to a travel agent, right? So knowing who your right fit client is first. And then the other thing that Bree did that you might not be. So if, let's say, because you were asking about a senior concierge and how they got their services and how they got their first right fit customer. For example, if Bree is she's doing the second home watch market, and a lady down the street bumped into her who has a mom who's aging in place, and she says, oh, hey, you seem like a really lovely lady, and I can trust you. Would you help take care of my mom in her house? I'm pretty sure Bree would be like,
you know.
That's not what I do.
It's not my unique skill set. It's not what I do. So yeah, Kelly is right. I had done a lot of work prior with Kelly to identify what that was, even down to the very specific kind of question that I get a lot. I have rentals. Will you manage my rentals? Could I jump into that? It would be very tempting to do that because I have some of the same tools in my tool belt, but that's a different game. And I knew right away that that's not something that I wanted to do. So that was not in my target group.
Oh,
Right
I
fit.
love that you said that too. It's like, would you get into this? This just happened in Fully Booked last week. There is a young woman in Fully Booked Business Club. She does organizing, mostly for moms. She's in Canada, and she's with her marketing and what she's been doing and her networking and connecting with people. She had a realtor reach out who was like, oh my God, you're so good on social media. Would you consider doing social media for me? And she was like, it was so tempting. And she came to the group call last week. We always celebrate like celebrations. And she was like, I am celebrating that I decided that opportunity was not for me. I was like, I could have peed my pants. I was so freaking excited for her because it's so easy to be like, oh, the money.
Yeah.
Right. So that was so valuable that you just shared that. Like, even if you can, and she has the skill sets and she could actually do it, but it's not the business that she wants to grow. That is not on her 3-year plan. Getting into rental markets is not on her 3-year plan, which is why in 100K on our next round, July 17th and 18th, when we have our 2-day planning session, right? This is why, like, making those decisions in your business ahead of time, like where you want to be, then you know this opportunity comes to you and you look to your plan, you're like, is this taking me there? Oh, it's not. It's actually taking me away from where I want to go. So this is a no for me. And being able to make those decisions a lot faster and not staying in your own head drama.
Mhm.
Good. So good. All right. So we got through that one. Your vibe attracts your tribe. I love that, Kelly. Awesome. All right. So I think we got through all of the questions that came in. I'm just double checking because this font, I am 50 and this font is getting too small for my 50 self. Let's see. We got through there. We got that. Just check. Okay, I think we got to all of the questions. So if somebody wanted to, like, let's say they're on the fence and they're like, I think I want to do this program. I don't know, or I think I want to, or here's how I want you to answer this question. Somebody's like, oh my God, I know that my business where it is right now is not exactly where I want it to be. And I think that Kelly's program will help me. But I'm going to go and figure it out on I'm going to take what I learned today and take all her, learn from her free stuff that she puts out there and do it on my own. What would you say to that person, Christina?
Well, I would say first and foremost, because I remember kind of struggling with, gosh, it feels like so much money. And what if it doesn't work out? But it has been one of the best investments I've ever made in my life, like hands down, not just for the business, but for my life, for my family life, for the balance that I need to learn to invest in myself, and that I'm worth it. Because, there's, like I said, there's so many tangible things that you learn that I don't know that you would get that elsewhere. And I actually had a business coach very early on before finding Concierge Academy that didn't know shit about having a concierge business, because this business is so unique, and from all kinds of ways. It is like the marketing is different, the networking is different, the just all kinds of ways. And most people don't really know how to advise. Like, for some things that would work with other businesses don't really work in this industry. And you will get every penny back and way more than you can ever imagine. Because it's things that, you will see the growth in the first year, but then it just keeps growing. Like, if you stick with, you learn these tools and you use them, the actual tangible tools that you learn, you'll just continue to grow on. And then, the mindsets work that you do in this group. And I'm going to just guess that most people do have some sort of something that helps when they're working in 100K. That's also something that just changes you in a way that makes you a better business owner and a better person out in the community. Better, you're giving, and it just continues.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you. How about you, Bree?
Well, I think Christina touched on the financial aspect. I would have been way behind in my path to 100K, but I need it. So I mentioned there's high highs and low lows, and in my low lows, I needed a lifeline, like real bad, because I don't know what the statistic is on how many businesses don't make it, 5 years, but there is one. And I felt like in the low lows, I could have easily just thrown in the towel and gone, It's hard. It's freaking hard. And I don't know what to do. But I always had a accountability group. I always had resources. I always had answers. I had a group of ladies that was like, for the most part, ladies, but that was like, girl, you got this. You know how to do this. And I needed that more than anything. The financial and the goals, that I have now, I will actually be on track to make it. I think on my own, I would have missed those targets and maybe never have hit them because I, quit. So, I'm not a quitter. I'm not saying I'm a quitter, but it's pretty tempting sometimes. So
Yeah, every time things would get hard in my business, I would say, that's it. I'm going to be a Walmart greeter.
it'd be so much easier.
That is my like fallback all the time. If for the first couple years of my business, my fallback was I was going to get a job at Target because I spent a lot of money in Target and I could get an employee discount. So I was going to go do Target. But now that my kids are older, I go to Target like once a year, once every 2 years anymore now. I'm rarely ever there anymore. So now I'm going to be a Walmart greeter. Because being a Walmart greeter seems easier than doing some of the things. And then how did you, because you're both married and have children. So how did you help, or how did you make these investment decisions for yourself and your business in your marriage? So I was telling the group yesterday how when I've invested in my business, of course, I have a conversation with my husband, but I've made the decision in what I am going to do. And then I take my decision with me to my husband. And I don't ask my husband, can I spend this amount of money or is it okay? I say, hey, I'm growing my business. This is the decision I made. I'm going to join this group or buy this program or pay for this course. I mean, my life coach certification was $18,000. I did not go into that lightly. I had a lot of drama up in my head on that one. That was a big investment for $18,000 for my life coach certification. But it has literally changed my life. And it's given me tools to change the lives of my students in greater ways than I was doing on my own. But when I had that conversation with him, it's like, this is what I'm thinking of doing. Here's why I want to do this. Will you support me in doing this? That's how I have conversations. And I know that's not like normal for a lot of women. A lot of women are very nervous to have those conversations. But I will say too, it is your business. Like, you have to make decisions for your business. But again, not everybody's in the same has the same relationship with their spouse. But how have you both managed that?
I feel like for me, it's very similar. Like, I went to him and said, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And I'll do what I need to do to make the money. And I did. I was a postpartum doula before becoming a house manager and then starting the business. But I had to go back. I had to reach back into some old networks, people, and be like, hey, I'm going to work. And I worked in the middle of the night, like night doula jobs to make the money, to make it work. And for me, I had already been in business for a little over a year and a half. And I knew, like Bree said, kind of like if I, this is a make or break moment. And I'm just going to trust, I'm going to put everything in there, and just, and so that's what I went to my husband with, like, this is going to work. This is what I feel I need to do. And so luckily he's an amazing husband and father. And so he's usually pretty supportive, and he knows that I'm not just careless with money. So it was fine. But I'm sure it's hard to look at that much money and think, what if it doesn't work?
Yeah. But here's the thing, which is really fascinating. So for example, you were already making like 30 some $1,000 when you joined. And let's say the investment to enroll in the program is $4,000. You already know how to make $4,000.
but I didn't just have an extra $4,000 lying around.
No,
Because
you don't have an extra.
at the time, I didn't really know how to run a business,
Correct.
you know, and so my business was broke, you know. So it wasn't just like, oh, I've got this extra money, and I had already taken personal money to start and wasted on things that, you know, I didn't know I shouldn't be wasting it on.
Mm, that's a
So
we'll have that conversation next time.
yes.
How about you, Bree?
Marriages are different.
Yeah.
They are. So my husband and I had a discussion about me leaving my corporate job in order to be with the family more, to make our lives a little easier, because it was a rat race, man. Like when I was working, it was a lot of hours, a lot of deadlines, and I couldn't be present. I couldn't get the family ready. Like I couldn't do my roles within our family. Everybody's got different roles. And so I was fully like ready to not do this corporate job anymore. And so I guess what I'm saying is I was blessed that I didn't have to worry about the income going away. Yes, it was super scary. And yes, it was my identity because I always had my own money. But there was something to fall back on in that he is a business owner and we were doing okay. Like we're not millionaires. Obviously, we, you know, everybody's got responsibilities with the income, but we were going to make it work. So in that, I started the business, not taking a paycheck, and kind of and keeping the money kind of in the business. But when I joined 100K Club, I knew at that point how to make the money and how many clients it was going to take and how many services it was going to take for those clients in order to pay for it. It was a no-brainer. I already had the formula. It was just kind of backing into it and going, well, if I do this now, I will have the growth later. Why wait until later? I need it now. So so like I said, every kind of situation is a little bit different.
Yeah, of course.
That, you know, that paycheck yet out of that, but my goal was to replace my former income. So yeah, so I didn't think that it was a difficult decision. I didn't ask his permission. Nope. And I did have a conversation about Kelly and the program, but he already knew that there were that I had these meetings, get shit done days, these, you know, this cadence of kind of meetings with Kelly, and the program was something I really enjoyed and was benefiting from. He asked, are you getting anything out of this? Like you made a lot. And for him, he didn't have any kind of coaching. So that was, you know, that was a new thing. And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't getting something out of it. So I did make the decision on my own to spend the money to make the investment with Kelly to do 100K.
Yeah. And sometimes we see your husband in the background in some of our meetings.
Dancing and doing stupid stuff.
That's always fun. He keeps it light and fresh for us.
Oh my gosh.
So, oh my gosh. Okay.
Sometimes in the background he'll go, are you getting your ass kicked right now?
Yes. Like recently when we were talking about the hiring and stuff, and he was so on board with you getting your ass kicked in that call. It's so funny. All right. I just want to make sure that if anybody had any questions in our live stream, that we answered those as well. Let's see. Oh, yep. We have some here. Natisha, let's see. Do either of you live in big cities or are you in smaller towns? I'm in a big city and worried that the need is not as great. Why would you? It's so funny. It's totally a thought. Natisha, I don't know if it's Natisha or Natisha, but I just want to say that it is completely a thought. You're like, I don't know if the need in the big city is great enough. And I had somebody send a question in on a YouTube video the other day that said, I live in a small town. I don't know if the business, like if there's enough clients out there for this to work. That is totally a mindset thing. It does not matter where you live. Also, a lot of times what people are thinking is they need like I want you to, for a hot second, like, I'm just going to look at, I live in the state of Pennsylvania. So, if we were to think about, and it's taking me to PayPal for some reason. Okay. Pennsylvania, what are we looking for? No, not hospital.
Mhm.
See, that's not what I was looking for. Yeah, the
So I live
census.
in a
Okay.
I live in a smaller market, a very small market, but one of my clients is from Chicago and said, I wish I had someone like you in Chicago,
Oh yeah,
in
people
a
are telling
really
me
big city.
all the time. It's a
Yeah.
big city, and there are a lot of big cities that actually have concierges out there. And guess what? You're not known because you're not marketing the way you're supposed to. So you
I'm
like a
in
lot of
Houston.
people.
It's huge. Yeah,
Houston
I'm in
is
Houston
huge.
and it's
Yes.
huge.
And are you worried about like, and I know also that there, so I was just looking at, so Pennsylvania's population hit 13 million people in 2020. Okay. Now, if I think about how many people live in Bucks County, which is my county, let's see. It's like it has a population of, it's definitely more than that. It's like 75,000 people. I know it's definitely more than that. But even if it was 75,000 people, I don't need 75,000 people to make even $100,000. I need like 5. Right? So we have to, like, is there 5 people in your small town that need your help? I'm sure there are. Are there possibly 5 people in this big city that need your help? Yeah, I'm sure there are. Right? Like, I think we go to this like monumentous thing in the interview that's going to go live tomorrow with Naima. Naima is on track this year to do $300,000 in her
Woo!
business.
She was going to be
She's
here today. I was like, I thought I'd seen Naima's face.
I know. She's at a different business conference. And so when
Okay.
she was like, we have to do this anyway, we'll record it.
Oh,
She's got 14 clients. 14 clients. So do you think there are 14 people in your own backyard? That's why a lot of people are like, they'll get like 2 clients and then like somebody will be like, oh, I wish, right? So for example, I wish there was somebody in Chicago, right? And then my brain was immediately like, oh, I should set up shop in Chicago. Can I hire somebody in Chicago? I'll manage it from here. I can manage somebody in Chicago. It's a total distraction from your market. Total distraction. Now, can you still do things for the person in Chicago where you are locally based? Absolutely. Can you still do things for people in Chicago if that's your business model and you do more online type of assistance? Absolutely. But does that mean you got to go set up shop in Chicago? No. God, could go on forever and ever. Okay.
I
So
think
I
you
think
just
I
have to
answered
start with the networking
in your space.
because when I started, I'd be like, I'll drive to the Woodlands. And if you know anything about Houston, that is like, it's another city. It's an hour drive. But I was like, I'll go to Humble and Spring and Gal. I mean, no. Like now I'm like, do you live in the loop? And so, yeah. And there's so many people. Oh my gosh, the pie is so big. And I'm also not worried about competition either.
That was
I
going
know
to be my
that's
next question because it's
that's
a
a lot
big
of
area, and I know there's a lot of other
there's a
coordinating
lot.
concierges
Yes.
and professional organizers in your town. Do you ever worry about that?
I not only not worry about it, I sometimes I'll go to coffee. And so we trade vendors or there's one that I met here in one of the workshops we did that I refer people to if it's either not a right fit or I'm too busy to take them on. And so now we have that relationship. There's so many people. But talking to the people in your first little sphere of just people you know, and then networking in your area helps to build your business and get clients that are where you are.
Where you
But that's
are.
anywhere. I mean, if it's a small town or a big city.
Yeah.
But I feel like also in the bigger cities, there's people with a lot of expendable income. And I think you can probably charge more. I mean, I don't know if that's true for all the big cities,
That's,
but
I don't think that's, yeah. And that's actually a mindset and a thought thing too, because you can
oh,
live in a small
okay,
town and charge big prices too. It's really just your
okay,
positioning of your ideal client and what you want.
gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. So, all right, I think I got them all. So thank you for Letitia for posting that question over there. And so, my friends, thank you so much for just being here with us today. So in closing, what do you just want to close with, Bree?
I think always try to be that CEO of your business in everything you do. So, like even when you're the technician, find ways to be the CEO. Whether it's talking to the neighbor or on the weekends when you're at the soccer game or whatever, talk to the humans and be the CEO, be the face of your business.
Yes, and embody the energy of the CEO too. Like the energy of the CEO is somebody who's like shows up in leadership, shows up for themselves, knows that they have a business to run, knows that they are responsible for running the business, and like your business doesn't owe you anything. Right? Like a lot of times I think we're like, oh, the business owes me everything. The business doesn't owe you anything. The business is its own entity and you are your own entity, but showing up in CEO energy is very different in everything that you do, right? So being the CEO in your household, being the CEO when you're at the bank, like the energy of the CEO versus the energy of the technician, the person who's out running the errands, is very, very different. Just like the version of you that's making, let's say, $30,000 a year now maybe in your business, and the version of you that's making $100,000 in your business, they are two very different people. And we need to bridge the gap in how you begin to show up in that person's energy. It's not necessarily always about, it is about things that you're doing differently, but it's your energy of what you're doing that is differently, and how you are thinking differently is usually the biggest change. And then when you think differently, then the actions will be different.
When I'm the
So valuable.
CEO, I'm not thinking about what I made last year. I'm thinking at the vision for the business, where I'm taking it. That's the mindset that I have to get in to embody that, to make myself feel like I'm running the shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So good. All right, Christina.
I'm just gonna kind of go on that little nugget that you were saying about the integrity in the business. Because I feel like some of that imposter syndrome that people get, I feel like I had when I started, and I hear some people like, the whole fake it till you make it thing. And are just, questioning whether or not this is going to work, or if, you're qualified to do this, or if anybody's going to pay, those little mind games that you play with, like, no one's going to pay me that much, whatever. I feel like sometimes you have to make the time. And, that was just kind of a reminder to me, because, lately exercise is kind of fallen off, like you get so busy that sometimes, for a lot of people, that's one of the things that's like, oh, I'll just skip the gym today or whatever. And I go out and I'm telling all these moms, like, make time for yourself. And, you can't fill an empty cup, and, because it's true. And so I just love that you touched on that today. And it was a little reminder to me, because I think sometimes you have to, look at those personal things too, not just in the business and the goals that you're trying to reach, but some of your personal stuff too. And take the time to look at everything around you and what you can do to make yourself the best, so that you're the best. You're showing up the best for your people and your clients and your business and yourself. And I think that's important.
Yeah, which is really, it's like for example, how Bree was saying, like, embodying the CEO energy, right? So making decisions for yourself and for your business from that future version of yourself too, not the version of yourself that you are right now, because making decisions from the version of yourself that you are right now is going to keep you in the position that you are right now. So when you think about, like, I'll speak for myself too, like, let's say I'm working on a goal and my goal is here and I'm here, and I'm not exercising on the regular because I don't have time, because I got to work and I got to do this. And if I take time out to exercise for myself, or whatever the thing is, but then you think about the energy of the person who's hit the goal and you're like, does that person take the time out? Right. And a lot of times it's like money. So I use this in coaching a lot, where it's like, let's say you your goal is 100K, right? So put yourself in your 100K self. Is your 100K self, would they say yes to this opportunity, or would they say no to this opportunity? That's embodying that, right? Your 100K self, and is your 100K self taking time to exercise their body? Yes. Is your 100K self, like, how many times a week is your 100K self, exercising their body? 4 times a week. Great. So now you've got to bring that awareness and bring that to today. And that is how you create the future. You go to the future to create your today. You don't stay in your today to recreate today. I think that's the perfect way to wrap it up. All right, my friends, thank you so much. I hope you all loved this 100K panel event, and I will see you all around on the interwebs. And don't forget, enrollment for our next round of 100K Club closes next Friday, May 19th. I hope to see you all there. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.